Horton Hatches the Egg by Dr. Seuss. Ooh, someone drew on there. Horton hatches the egg. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired and I'm bored. I have kinks in my leg. From just sitting here day by day. It's work, how I hate it. I'd much rather play. I'd take a vacation, fly off for a rest. If I could find someone to stay on my nest. If I could find someone, I'd fly away free. Then Horton, the elephant, passed by her tree. Hello, called the lazy bird, smiling her best. You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest? The elephant laughed. Why, of all silly things, I haven't feathered and I haven't wings. Me on your egg? Why, that doesn't make sense. Your egg is too small, ma'am. I am so immense. Tut, tut, answered Maisie. I know you're not small, but I'm sure you can do it. No trouble at all. Just sit on it softly. You're gentle and kind. Come, be a good fellow. I know you won't mind. I can't, said Elephant. Please, begged the bird. I won't be gone long, sir. I'll give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed. Well, very well, said the elephant, since you insist. You want a vacation? Go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say. Toodaloo, sang out Maisie and fluttered away. The first thing to do, murmured Horton. Let's see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done before I get on it. I must weigh a ton. Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunks to the nest where the little egg slept. Then Horton the elephant smiled. Now that's that. And he sat, and he sat. And he sat all that day. He kept the egg warm. He sat all that night through a terrible storm. It poured and it lightened. It thundered and it rumbled. This isn't much fun, the poor elephant grumbled. I wish he'd come back. 'Cause I'm cold, I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget. But Maisie, by this time, was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. So Horton kept smiling there day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away, and then came the winter, the snow and the sleet. The icicles hung from his trunk and his feet, but Horton kept smiling and said with a sneeze, I'll stay on this egg and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through, and then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered around and they shouted with glee. Look, Horton the elephant's up in the tree. They taunted, they teased him, they yelled. How absurd! Oh, Horton the elephant think he's a bird. They laughed and they laughed, then they all ran away, and Horton was lonely, he wanted to play. But he sat on the egg and continued to say, I meant what I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. No matter what happens, this egg must be tended, but poor Horton's troubles were far, far from ended. For while Horton sat there, so faithful, so kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. Uh-oh. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high. He threw out his chest. He looked at the hunters, as much as to say, shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I meant what I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful, 100%. The men didn't shoot, much to Horton's surprise. They dropped their 3 guns. They stared with wide eyes. Look, they all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange, it's amazing, it's wonderful, new. Don't shoot him, we'll catch him. That's just what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll send him back home to a circus for money. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front of the pullers for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. "We're off," the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy 100%. Up on the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains, 10,000 feet high. Then down the mountains and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out the wagon onto a ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip. Rolling and tossing, splashed with spray, and Horton said, day after day after day, I meant what I say what I meant, but oh, and I seasick 100%. After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with the lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied onto a board that could just scarcely hold him. Bump, Horton landed, and then the men sold him. So to a circus, and week after week, they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. They took him to Boston, to Kalamazoo, Chicago, Weehawken, and Washington too, to Dayton, Ohio, St. Paul, Minnesota, to Wichita, Kansas, to Drake, North Dakota, to everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laughed at the elephant in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the further he went, but he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent, I meant what I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. Then one day the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach, and dawdling along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by? And that old good-for-nothing bird, Runaway Maisie, still on vacation, still just as lazy. And spying the flags and tents just below, he sung out, what fun! Why, I'll go to the show. And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. Good gracious, gasped Maisie. I've seen you before. Poor Horton looked up from his face, white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, there ran out the noisiest ear-splitting squeaks from the egg he sat on 41 weeks. Thumping, a bumping, a wild life scratching. My egg, shouted Horton. My egg, why, it's hatching. But it's mine, screamed the bird. When he heard the egg cracking, the work was all done. Now she wanted back. It's my egg, she sputtered. You stole it from me. Get off of my nest and get out of my tree. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out the pieces of red and white shell. From the egg that he sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something wheeze. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. How cute is that?
It's a baby elephant, right?
It's a baby elephant with wings. And the people came shouting, what's all this about?
It's a bird elephant.
It's a bird elephant. They looked, they stared with their eyes popping out. Then they cheered, and they cheered more and more. They've never seen anything like it before. My goodness, my gracious, they shouted, my word.
But
that's something brand new. It's an elephant bird.
There's only a little bit bald stuff and a lot more elephant.
Well, that's because Horton the elephant took care of the egg a lot more than Maisie the bird. And it should be like that, because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy 100%. See what happens when Maisie the bird just left her egg laying around, and she wants an egg later on when the baby was hatched. Well, thank you for listening to us reading Horton Hatches the Egg. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and check out my other Dr. Seuss readings.